It's just not something I had to do, and I could see the physiological part that thought really didn't even enter the picture at all. Didn't need to if I didn't want it to. Didn't want it to. Just kind of watched the physiological side, and it became much easier to just relax into this deeper space.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yes. The more you taste it and you savor it, the more there is an appreciation and an availability and an ease to go to it. I mean, you're really not going anywhere. It's right. It's just a matter of speech. It's an availability and the invitation is recognized and accepted. It becomes more and more effortless to relax in presence, the presence that is.
Quite cool. Because again, it's just like no point in struggling here.
Right.
I'm just sitting.
Beautiful. Yeah. It is.
In a way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's order. It's the beauty, the love, the harmony. And in all our activities, mind activities and physical activities, we are seeking that. We are, in a way, we are directly or indirectly looking for peace and happiness and harmony and well-being. We might think, oh no, I want the good job, but really what's behind the good job is well-being, happiness. And it's just that the mind mistakes the peace and tranquility to be in a certain worldly event, and so we pursue the object, while in fact what our heart is really looking for is what is that in which the object appears, which is the borderless presence, the peace and happiness of presence. Because in peace and happiness there isn't a me and a you. In the peace and happiness we are one. All is one. So when we sit around the peace table and we talk about our issues and our differences, we slowly come to the peace where we recognize our oneness. We recognize that I am you. Yes? In maybe different form, but still the same I, the same consciousness. And this is what brings the peace. It's the love that brings the peace. The recognition that I am you, that I am. The I is the same I that takes on various forms, various mind forms.
But I see that you're being there, and you haven't in effect done anything. So you haven't in actuality accomplished anything. It's not like you have to pat your back on the back and say, "Oh boy, I finally got there," and then that creates this phony kind of kick in excitement, which just completely screws up the whole thing.
Yes, right, yes. Well, what might follow the recognition of our causeless peace and happiness is the celebration of, look what I've created, Yes. But then it has a celebratory quality. It's not what is the cause of your happiness.
For 1 second, wow.
Yeah. Because the happiness is causeless, yes? It has to be causeless. It's not, I need to do this and then, it's causeless. But then, from the happiness, there can be celebration. Like here, we are a celebration. We are coming together as loving friends. We're celebrating being together. There's a joy and a beauty and a happiness. Why not? It's lovely. We are around the fire of truth. We sit together around that love. And we celebrate that, we recognize that, we celebrate that, and we soak it, we soak in that, and our lives are transformed as a result of this love, of this soaking. But it doesn't have to do with a place nor a time. It is our love for truth, our love for what is real, that creates this space. It's a shared love. Yes.
So some teachers say that this ordinary awareness, this very
The
common
ordinary awareness, yes.
experience,
Yes.
is the enlightened experience.
Mm-hmm.
There is no difference except
Yes.
the thought
Mm-hmm.
superimposes something else. But
Yes.
this awareness right now, this presence of things,
Mm-hmm.
ordinary experience,
Yes.
is exactly the
Mm-hmm.
same awareness
Yes. Mm-hmm.
after the working.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true, or
Mm-hmm.
how you?
Yeah. Yeah. So the saying is that ordinary mind is extraordinary mind, or I think in Buddhism said that ordinary mind is enlightened mind. It's really important to understand that these statements are made subsequent to the realization of the self. And they are very true, yes. Because what we refer to as ordinary mind is our experiences, our thoughts and perceptions, dreams, memories, bodily sensations. That is what we refer to as the ordinary mind. For example, one could say from the ordinary mind perspective that this perception right here is what is part of this ordinary mind. But it's important to realize that there isn't actually a mind. There is perception, there is thought, sensation, memory, but there isn't a mind. There isn't a container where these memories arise from, or these thoughts or these perceptions arise from and go back into. And the enlightened mind is the ordinary mind, but it's extraordinary, extraordinarily ordinary. What is meant by that is that it is a mind that no longer believes itself to be separate from consciousness. Actually, let me word it differently. Because the mind does not believe. A mind is, when we refer to the mind, we refer to thoughts, perceptions, and sensations.
The collection.
Yes, the collection, or just the collection that is made out of just this individual, this moment by moment sort of series of events, like for example, like in a movie, in the role of movie, you have various frames, like a series of frames, a collection of frames. A whole film is, you can call it the mind. But just as a metaphor, because in fact there isn't an actual reel that is imprinting all the stuff. There are bubbles bubbling up of for example, memories. You might, for example, remember the thought of what you had for breakfast might arise for you, but the memory of what time you woke up might not arise. So it's a random event. But in terms of the ordinary mind being extraordinary, is that consciousness that believed itself or identified itself with a particular mind has released that belief and now recognizes itself. So that is the extraordinary aspect of the ordinary mind, in that there is no longer the belief that consciousness is personal, that consciousness is an actual personal mind. Rather, what is understood not simply at the intellectual level, but experientially, that it is one consciousness that is illumining, let's say, illumining infinite minds. I sometimes use the metaphor of the electric current, and that there is one electric current, one grid illumining thousands and hundreds of thousands of various light bulbs, electrical equipment, and so on. It's that one consciousness, one reality that that shines onto all minds. Sometimes in some teachings that are incomplete revelations, it is said that, oh well, ordinary mind is enlightened mind. But some folks that speak that way, they have not yet realized the causeless peace and happiness. They're still in the unhappiness. And in a way, they have had a glimpse of the self, the glimpse of truth. But since it hasn't completely dissolved the unhappiness, they revert to such a statement, that statements were made by sages. But they sort of use that statement to justify that also the suffering that is occurring in their life is part of the enlightened mind. But that is not so. Enlightened mind does not suffer. Yeah, so in a way it's ordinary mind, but it's extraordinarily ordinary, in that it looks and feels and appears as all else. There is nothing changed. We still go to sleep, eat, and enjoy being together, and go for walks, and go to the cafe, go to the movies, whatever. It's ordinary mind, but it's angst and suffering free.
So the only difference we can say is the suffering or non-suffering.
Yes. It is the end of suffering, but there is. I'm sorry.
And realization. No suffering and realization.
Yes. It is not just the end of suffering, which of course is a necessary aspect of the ordinary mind in the extraordinary sense, but it's also there is a joyous celebration and a recognition of the beauty, of the love, of the happiness, of the freedom. So it is not just the negation of suffering, but it's also the downloading of all the beautiful qualities of consciousness, synchronicity and insight, creativity, but it has a celebratory aspect. But above all, it is the causeless freedom, joy, peace, and happiness, which is this. If you're familiar with the Satchit Ananda, it's the Ananda part of the Sanskrit, saying. And it's an internal. It's not. It is a. It's a subjective, not a relative. It's not relative, but it's subjective. Objectively, you cannot tell much, except you do sense, a certain peace and a certain well-being and happiness being with this person. There is in Buddhism they have the ox herding pictures. I don't know if you're familiar with the 10 ox herding pictures. And towards the last ox herding picture, the sage is back into the marketplace, tending to his business in the marketplace. But it's a very different marketplace. It doesn't seem from the phenomenal level that it's different, but it's subjectively completely different. It's like the saying, I think there's a saying, before there were mountains and rivers, then there were no mountains and rivers, and then there were mountains and rivers. There's also a similar metaphor in the Dharma about that. That refers to initially there is the world, body, mind, but there's also in me, that's I refer to as in the ignorance. In ignorance of the self, our experience or the experience at the mind level is that there is a world, body, mind out there and me in here, and I'm just sort of totally separate from the world. And then this is the initial, there are mountains and rivers out there. And then there is the glimpse, the enlightenment, the glimpse that I am not this person, that I am this consciousness, I am consciousness. And in that moment, there are no rivers and no mountains. So there is a stage along the journey where you realize that you are consciousness, but the world, body, mind is still out there, but you know yourself to be consciousness, but there is still a me as consciousness. So this is the phase that's referred to as no rivers and no mountains. And then the last phase, the rivers and the mountains are back, is the merging. It's the phase where the world, body, mind merge into consciousness, into presence. Yes. There's a beautiful bird out there that's like digging at some leaves, and red.
Oh, yeah,
What is that? A turkey? Is it a turkey?
It might be a woodpecker.
Wow, that's a large woodpecker. Yeah.
You see it mountains.
Yeah, that's a large. Yeah,
Huge.
yeah, huge. You see that right at the bottom of the tree there.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it looks like almost like a turkey or so.
Yeah.
Samir, you have to step this way. Samir, you see it
big.
from under the tree on the floor, yeah, between the two trees.
Might be two of them over there.
Oh.
I see. Yeah.
That's another little bus.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Too.
Yeah.
That's
That's very lovely.